Hey guys, this is Lala Legacy and welcome back to another episode of Symphonic Rain. So let's jump right back in. On foot, it took several minutes to cross the hallways lined with lecture halls and arrive at the private classrooms. As expected from the prominent musical institute, competing on a national level, it was quite big. I headed for the designated classroom, or for my designated classroom, while inhaling the fresh and slightly damp morning air. Since language classes, harmonics classes, and for freshmen, general education classes were all taught here, there were many people present in this area. However, it was silent here because all the rooms were soundproof. But then, in the afternoon, you could still hear the rustle of people in spite of that. But I liked the atmosphere here in the morning. The compressed air in the hallway muffled the sound of the rain, but I could still feel it in my bones. Excuse my interruption. I had arrived over 15 minutes before the appointed time of 10:30, so Miss Cordell wasn't here yet. She generally arrived here 10 minutes early, but today I happened to be even earlier. Well now. I pulled out a chair and took my fortel out of its case. There was another fortel in the room, but my own instrument still felt like the best one for me. Concentrating on my fingers, I played a few notes. After playing like this for a few minutes, I heard the door open behind me. Good morning. Oh my god. Good morning, madame. I turned around and returned her greeting. I don't mind, please continue. Actually, I am done now. Is that so? Then fine. Fine then, aren't you a little early? Miss Cordell glanced at the clock, then she turned toward me for confirmation. Well, yes. Anyway, I have something to talk to you about. I'm sure you can guess what I'm going to say. About my partner, right? Exactly. It's not like you don't know of of at least one candidate, right? Well, sure, but once you've decided on your partner, you will also need time to practice with them, so there is no time to waste. It's still a few months away. Make that 2. Not that you could casually call, not what you could call casually call a few months, is it? Ugh, so that's how long I have left. I knew you were oblivious, but not to this extent. Since you know how out of touch I am, how about avoiding that topic? Because it's also my job. Now, are you searching proactively? Well, yeah. That's a lie. It was just like Miss Cordell to make such instant declarations. Why do you think that? Well, I have figured out some of your personality. Then why are you asking? What, was I right? She gave a weak smile as her hand combed through her hair. I liked those gestures that Miss Cordell made every now and then. When it came to music, she was very strict and showed no mercy to her students, but that wasn't the only side to her. Although it seemed most students couldn't see past her image of being a strict lecturer. In fact, I used to be like that as well until I started taking these private lessons. Yeah, bullseye. I suppose very few singers can... Oh my gosh. Sorry, I just got a message on Discord. Very few singers can compliment the quality of your sound. Compromises aren't good either. Yeah, that's part of the reason. I kept pretending with a weak smile. Sometimes I felt that she was overestimating my abilities. Among all the lecturers in the school, Miss Cordell in particular held my skills in high regard. But I personally didn't really feel that way. The fortel was just an instrument that required magic, and the player had considerable control over its timbre. It was not like a piano or a cembalo, I think, where you could produce single notes by just pressing one of its keys. Of course, it made different sounds by pressing it harder or by the way you use the pedals, but this was not how a foretell differed between individual players. You could say the variance of the sound itself was relatively similar to a wind instrument. However, it appeared to be the most similar to a human voice. As it turned out, Miss Cordell thought very highly of the sound I produced. It had a lot to do with how the sound was perceived by others. The performer had no way to tell by himself. It was like being told that something you found normal was actually something very unique. Chris, are you listening? Well, no. It's good to be honest. Just keep in mind that I'll take off points if you don't listen to me during the course. Sorry. It's fine. Let's save that talk for later and get started with the lesson. Understood. I took the score out of my bag and placed it on the music stand. Miss Cordell scanned the score over my shoulder. The same piece as usual? Yes, I know the piece depends on my partner, but this is the only one I have right now. Oh well, let's play it from the start then. You can begin. Uh-oh. Wait. What am I doing? Oh! Whoops. Ah! I don't know what I'm doing. Oh gosh. Ah! I don't know. Ah! I'm messing up. Ah. Oh crap, I messed up a lot. Ah, crap! Oh shit, that was an F, wasn't it? Crap. I messed up so much! I didn't know what I was doing! Yeah, let's try this again. Crap. Crap. Fuck. Okay, I did so much better that time. Having finished my performance, I turned around in anticipation of Miss Cordell's critique. That was awful. You realize that, right? Yes. Good. It's no disaster to mess up during practice. I wasn't sure what Miss Cordell was thinking, but she gave me a weak smile. Well, in your case, I suppose you lack a sense of purpose. What do you mean? It's not very smart to just keep practicing your song when you still haven't found a partner. So, we end up on that subject again. I'm not saying this to pester you. This isn't the time to be even talking about this anymore in the first place. Yes, I know that. Then I'll take your word for it. Thank you. You at least have a candidate, right? Well, yeah. Your friend, Tortinita. Yeah, that's right. She's graduating this year too, right? Isn't she perfect for the job? I'll take it into consideration. I see. Fine. Fine then. If worst comes to worst, I'll somehow arrange something for you. Arrange something? I'll ask a student from the vocal department if you haven't decided before classes end this year. I'll decide on someone for you. Meaning that you have no say in it. Besides, isn't it hard to be searching for a partner when you can't even play your piece properly yet? I replied to these words in a serious tone. It's not hard at all. I see. In that case, I have faith in you. Decide on a partner for yourself soon. I fell for it. But when she smiled at me like that, I couldn't possibly talk back anymore. Anyway, let's start practicing. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Let's go over it from the start again. Oh my gosh. Again? Oh, okay, never mind. Guess not. I remained in the lesson room after Miss Cordell had left to wait for a slight exhaustion from my performance to fade. I began thinking about the warning I had been given numerous times now. It wasn't like I hadn't been thinking about the partner issue at all. I was just still feeling a bit indifferent about it. I knew full well that I was getting short on time, but I was somehow unable to motivate myself to take action. Piova Music Institute. This music institute, named after the town it resides in, was world-renowned for its production of many famous musicians. It had a long history, and getting accepted into and graduating from it was considered a commendable feat. Since I was a foretell player, which not many people had the natural disposition for, the institute had been lenient with my enrollment. I suppose that was the real reason I was having a hard time now. Not unexpectedly, to be able to graduate, a final assessment needed to be completed. This assignment was a recital at the Institute's concert hall. At this event, we would be rated by graduate students from this institute and active musicians from across the country. Depending on the result, it was possible to have to repeat the year, although most students ended up being forced to drop out in this case. Conversely, depending on the degree of success, you could be guaranteed a successful career as a musician immediately. The bar was placed very high. Even so, Miss Cordell had assured me I had the qualifications to graduate. Although she did remind me that I would probably be cutting it close. For foretellists, a recital was bound by 2 regulations, and no matter how talented you were, there was no way to graduate unless these conditions were met. First, the piece to be recited had to be original. I happened to have one prepared, so this wasn't a problem for me. The second, more problematic regulation was that the recital had to be done in accompaniment of a song. Normally, this meant partnering with a senior vocalist. For them, this would also be their graduation recital. But as a general rule, it didn't have to be a student from the vocal department. It didn't even have to be a student of this institute. It could be a regular citizen of the town, for instance. Even so, partnering with someone who wasn't used to singing in front of a crowd might not yield a very good result. As such, I'd never heard of a student partnering with an outsider before. Well, it wasn't like I didn't have a candidate. It was just that a part of me was hesitant to partner with that girl. The reason being, actually, I was not even sure myself. She was actually a pretty good singer. Plus, she was a childhood friend who I had known since I was small, and we still got along fine. Then why? I would have asked myself this question many times, but could never figure out the answer. I was snapped back into reality by the sound of the bell announcing noon. Although we hadn't made an appointment, I headed toward the cafeteria to meet said childhood friend/candidate partner. Unlike this morning, the hallway was flooded with conversing students. I slipped my way through the crowd and went outside. The main building I just exited consisted of lesson rooms, lecture halls, as well as offices for lecturers and other staff. The secondary building I was heading for housed a few lesson rooms and many small private practice rooms, as well as the cafeteria, the library, and other miscellaneous facilities. I passed the concert hall that was located between the two buildings and quickly headed inside to avoid the rain. As expected at lunchtime, the cafeteria was already full of people. The cafeteria had the capacity to provide for around 100 people at a time, and it was already about half filled up. I left my bag at my favorite seat next to the window. I randomly ordered some risotto and sat down after bringing it back to my table. "Good morning." As I was busy picking at the food on my plate with my spoon, I heard a familiar voice behind me. "Oh, good morning." Okay, that is all the time that I have for this episode, guys. So we are meeting Torta finally, and that's awesome. I'll have to get used to the whole actual mini game that they have in here where you're actually playing. I did not know that was a thing. So excuse my being horrid at it the first time. So anyways, I love you guys so much. And if you haven't already, subscribe. By subscribing, you're becoming a part of a legacy. So I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!